Welcome to The View from the East, an unofficial Leyton Orient podcast. This is episode 21, Orient transfer record smashed and season kicks off. My name's Rob Bennett, and once again I'm joined by my slightly older brother, Eddie B. Eddie, how are we doing?
Yeah, howdy all. I hope you all had a good week. Rob, the season's nearly upon us, isn't it? So I'm really excited for the forthcoming 26-27 season. So let's kick off.
Yeah, I think we've done a bit of our groundwork, haven't we, over the summer? So we've covered most things, so we can really get into things now in terms of the good stuff. I just wanted to thank people who've kept with us over the summer while we've tried to produce more content. One while we get ourselves up and running, but also to try and give you the news sort of as and when it's been happening. So thank you for all of those who have liked or subscribed to Spotify, Apple, YouTube, etc. Numbers are on the up. We're getting more comments as well. Ed, this comment come following our conversation about sponsoring toilet blocks.
Interesting.
Which Leyton Orient might be not be taking it seriously, but Martin let us know that at Wickham, apparently the away stand toilets are sponsored by Whiffaway. So, which he probably said coincided with our terrible performances there for the last two seasons. So, there's money to be had, isn't there?
We're just giving them ideas, Rob. Just giving them ideas.
As the saying goes, where there's muck, there's brass. So come on, Leyton Orient, give us a decent sponsor for the East Stand toilet block. And for all other toilet blocks as well. We don't want to leave anyone out. So, Ed, on the episode this week, Dom Ballard departs. New signing, Jaze Kabia. Oxford United review. We'll do a Sheffield Wednesday preview ahead of upcoming First League game on Saturday. And I'll also get my stats out at the end of the episode. So, Ed, let's get into what at the time was major news, and I suppose still is major news for us. So on Tuesday evening, as Orient were winning 7-1 away to Waltham Abbey, the news come out, I think it was around about 9:30. Dom Ballard has finally left the building and he's joined Bristol for what's reported to be a record transfer fee out.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've been talking about this the whole summer. I'm glad it's done now and out of the way. As you said, record money coming into the club, which is great. I think there was a little bit of a sell-on fee to Southampton, as we discussed before. And I presume that Orient have a sell-on fee for Dom if he's at success at Bristol City, which we all want. Obviously, we all want Dom to set that league alight and score 20 goals this season or the next season and get a big move onto his next challenge. So, good luck to him.
Yeah, one thing that come out, I don't think it's been shock news. It's been on the cards, isn't it? And I suppose it's whether you wanted it now or did you want it sort of as the season starts. I can see both sides to it. From the team's point of view, I'm talking about management team in terms of Richie Wellens. I'm sure he wanted this done and dusted as soon as possible so we could just crack on. I'll get onto that in a minute. On the club statement, it was interesting, and you mentioned this a couple of weeks ago when we spoke about David Gandler, that now he's got a bit more time on his hands. I'm not saying he's unemployed and watching daytime TV, but business-wise, he's got his eyes on the ball, isn't he, in terms of what's going on. It was David Gandler who done the official club statement first in terms of what's on the website and on the app. So it was his name first on the list of who's given a statement to it. Part of his statement was, the question we have asked ourselves all summer and before that is, if we lose Dom, how do we move forward from it? That is something we have been very focused on. I want to be clear that we are committed to achieving our long-term goal of reaching the championship. We will reinvest in our squad and we will continue to operate ambitiously, but also sensibly and sustainably. So, as I said, and I'll put it back to you, it was interesting, isn't it? It's his name on the tin, really, isn't it? I'd imagine he's just said, finally, right, let's get it done, let's move forward.
Yeah, I suppose he's been in deep conversations with Nigel and Richie over the summer months, and as we're getting close to that beginning of the season, a decision had to be made. Do we hold off and then potentially have an unhappy player, or do we do we, Bristol City and Leighton Orient come together and agree a fee and all the bits that come with it, and just to get this over the line, which I think is probably what's happened. And as you said, if David's over in London or spending more of his time now in London, I think he's probably that one that's made the final call in the end.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think when you look back, I'm just going to mention one of Richie's comments in a moment. But Richie's mentioned a few things, isn't it? A couple of weeks ago, the deals on it, I would have just taken the money, take it and run in terms of like get on with what I want to do. Then there was talk, wasn't it? Well, we need to get a striker in or two until Dom makes his decision or a decision's made for him. But one of Richie's comments in the interview on Tuesday night after the Waltham Abbey game was that on the first day of pre-season, Dom's at his door saying, I want to leave.
Yeah, I think this alludes to the fact that you don't need an unhappy. We don't need anyone, even at work. If you've got someone who's unhappy, it just brings the whole team down. So I'm sure there's been numerous conversations, but, I think we're right in holding out for as much as we wanted. I imagine it wasn't so much the transfer fee. I think it may have been like the sell-on fee. What figure was agreed there? We'll never know. But that may have been the sticky point. But yeah, look, I think what we have to remember, he didn't start the season with us last year. We bought him for 50 grand, and now we're selling him for so-called 5 million. It's a great bit of business by the club, and if we want to be this Moneyball type of team, the club and the fans are going to have to get used to the fact that we're going to have to sell one of these players every year. But then hopefully we bring more and more money into the team, and then we can reinvest more in new and young up-and-coming players.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've been told, I've mentioned this on the pod before, we bought him for, 50 grand? And the sell-on fee, or in terms of money to Southampton and percentage-wise, is a lot less than what people would imagine. So it's not like a 25%, 20%, it's less than that. So although obviously Southampton are now due monies at some point, because what is the fee in total? Is it going to be up to about 5 million, isn't it? Depending on performance, I guess.
I presume it's on if they get promoted or how far they come up the league, how many goals he scored. Perhaps even if he gets an international call-up, let's say, for example, there's probably loads of add-ons, aren't there? So perhaps if they're all ticked, it may be 5 million. But I think we should presume it's somewhere around that sort of figure. Yeah,
we mentioned Ed while we at the game on Saturday. It's worth remembering as well, he's not exactly gone to a team that is always pushing for promotion in terms of automatically. Bristol is a team where managers get revolved out that door quite quickly. They've obviously taken on the guy from Lincoln who, I suppose, not new on the block, but he's sort of had recent success, hasn't he? But his arse is going to be on the line himself, isn't it? They've already lost to Walsall in the Carabao Cup. I suppose they've bought the two main strikers from League One, where then you've got to hope that they're going to sort of hit the ground running and score the goals you hope. But even if one of them malfunctions a bit, sort of it's going to be seen as a bit of a gamble, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it is a gamble. Like, as much as we all loved Dom and his goals last year, he'd only played men's football for one season. He'd been on loan a couple of times prior to that, and unfortunately picked up injuries, and only sort of after he only scored a couple of goals for Cambridge and I think a couple of goals for Reading. So it wasn't prolific for him in the professional men's game before he joined us. Perhaps we've lucked out. We've got him for 1 year and sold him for £5 million. Thanks very much.
Yeah. And for anyone on X or the forums who are saying, I hope he doesn't do very well, don't say that. You want him to score like a bag full of goals for Bristol. Doesn't matter where they finish in the league. So if that means then he gets 20 million move, 25 million, 30 million move to the Premiership, then it's good for us in the long run. There's more money in the bank. Also, we'll talk about it now. We could have spoken about it when we talk about our new signing. We said, didn't we, that at some point, if Orient are going for this, what I suppose is called like the Moneyball business profile, which I suppose Brentford and Brighton would be the good examples to look at, wouldn't it? Sort of trying to buy players in relatively cheap and then selling them on for big money. You've got to start somewhere. So we've had recent success with Galbraith leaving. We've also got the help of the sell on then when he's gone to Stoke. It'll be the same for Tom Ballard, won't it? And future prospects as well, who we may buy in terms of you've got to get the ball rolling literally at some point, haven't you? If that's the model they're going for the next 5, 10, 15 years.
Yeah, you just can't be reliant on the TV money and the money you're getting in the ground through season tickets, etc., etc. And Gander doesn't want to put his hand in his own pocket and pump 5 million quid into the team every year. He wants to become self-efficient. So as I said, don't be surprised if we get to next summer and if our superstar player, whoever it may be this year, that there's a similar sort of process. I think that's the way you have to do it to succeed.
Okay. Let's get on then. So there was rumour about this one in terms of speculation of the new signing we brought in. So from Grimsby, again, a record transfer fee paid out for us. We brought in Jaze Kabia from Grimsby. Played for Truro before that, then on to Grimsby, scored at both places, had a period where he's been in the Irish League, Scottish League, out on loan to various places. But record transfer fee, Ed, they said they had striker in mind. What was it, 48 hours later, we've got someone in.
Yeah, really impressed. First time for a lot, I can't even remember, we've actually gone out and spent big money in buying an up-and-coming player. I mean, usually we get players who drop down a level or two, or we're trying our luck on some youngsters who have fallen out of favour at the Premiership team. So to actually go down a level and buy, one of the top goal scorers from League Two last year, he's obviously on a bit of a roll. His last 2 seasons, I think he scored nearly 50 goals. It proves a point. And again, a bit like when we bought Dobra, I think it probably us losing Ballard. Grimsby fans and supporters were obviously disappointed that he was leaving because he obviously they grew fond of him last year, and he's obviously got, by the looks of it, a cracking personality, and it looks like a positive signing, Rob.
Yeah, we've. I was going to say we've opened your scouting book, but we've opened the relative book in terms of someone we know in Ireland, Uncle Seamus, who's a former football player, done a bit of coaching, done a bit of scouting. So he's helped us out. He's looked at Jazz during his days over in Ireland. What we will say, for any good football scout in Ireland, Uncle Seamus will claim to have been the person who discovered Roy Keane. But we soon found out that every scout in Ireland says something similar. So we can't believe him on everything he says. But he's given you a rough sketch of what he knows about this player. What are the maybe strong points that he's highlighted?
I think I think what we have to remember is that he's probably entering his prime years now after breaking out Grimsby. He's a little bit older than Ballard. He's 26, so you could say he's a late developer, so to speak, in the men's game. But look, let's look at some of his stats from last year. 18 League Two goals, 24 goals in 57 appearances across all competitions for Grimsby last year. Interesting, 9 goals in his final 10 games last year for Grimsby when they were pushing for the playoffs. They did get in the playoffs, didn't they? I think they beat Swindon perhaps 4-0 the last game of the season. One of the big things that he had 76 shots last season, 40 of those on target. I think probably what we noticed it on Saturday, Rob, didn't we? Perhaps his biggest strength is his pace. I think he's when he started off his career as a winger, and then that's sort of progressed into sort of like a centre forward role. But what we did notice, and from the scouting report, he presses right onto the defender, so he's on at them all the time, and he's got a really quick turn of speed. So he's not going to be holding the ball up, and laying up, but he's going to be the one running on the shoulder of the defender. He's going to be annoying if you're a defender because this guy doesn't stop running. And I think if you've looked at any of his goals from last season, he's got that sort of like fox in the box type player. I mean, he's in or around that 6-yard box. A lot of his goals are sort of like off the back of crosses, tap-ins, layoffs. So I think, this is going to be a positive signing for the club as a whole. And I think he comes hungry as well, which is always a good thing because he's probably got a point to prove that he's good enough for this level, and he wants to continue the last 2 great seasons he's had. Yeah,
I mean, there's nothing wrong with a late bloomer, is there? Ian Wright made a good career out of that. He started off relatively late, didn't he, in terms of professional football? I think from what you said, and I've seen the report that was sent over to us, Richie, if Richie were wanting to get that press right, because he will say that's where it all starts, doesn't it, in terms of where Orient gain their success in terms of that pressure, Kelman was good at is it sometimes Kelman would put a press on 2 or 3 times just to keep the player on their toes and the ball in action, so to speak. So if you can get that press right, and obviously then when the goals come with it as well, there would be onto a good one. Ed, it's a rarity for us. I mean, people will always throw around names of who we should be buying, this, that and the other. But they've almost looking at, I think we bought him, for 700,000. So that's, what's that, double what we bought for El Miz, who was our record signing at the time. So it's looking good, isn't it? You've already said in prior episodes, we'd probably break our both transfer monies out and transfer monies in, which we've now done. When we spoke about it on Saturday, and we've probably bought 3 of the best players from League Two this season.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday when we was, what shall I say, we'll come on to the Oxford game shortly, but it looks like we bought one of the best strikers in League Two last season. I think in Dobra, perhaps one of the most skillful midfield players who constantly got into the League Two Team of the Year. We've got
Yusuf as well.
Yusuf, yeah, from Bristol Rovers, who sort of, helped them come from the bottom of the league up to the they were well safe at the end of the season, and they was obviously keen to keep him as well. So this is what we've always wanted to do, is bring hungry players up from a league below and help develop their careers and push them forward. So it's just unusual, isn't it? Us going out and spending, say, like £700,000 on a player. But through what they've been doing, we're in a position now where we can do stuff like this, and I think we need to do stuff like this to keep on progressing. I'm very pleased with it, and it was done really quickly as well.
Yeah, I know it's a long, long way off, but if you look at Brighton, for instance, who I would call a money ball club, they've spent over 100 million on transfers in this summer. So it just shows, Ed, we remember the days when we was playing Brighton, in the bottom tier. So it just shows you sort of what can be achieved, but everyone's got to be on board with it, haven't they? Us as fans, obviously the staff there, the manager, they've all got to buy into it, otherwise it won't work.
Exactly. I think we kept on alluding, I think we have to be open to the mind fact that every summer we're probably going to let our best player go. Because and I think it's good now because, we sold Galbraith, they're safe for £1.5 million. Now we've sold Ballard for 5 million. So next year, if we have a player who's in cracking form and someone's looking for him, they've probably got an idea of where the benchmark's going to be now. It's going to be 5 million plus because we probably don't need to sell them for anything less than that because we've got money in the club already. So I think you have to start small and then build yourself up, and it looks as if we're on the right track to do that.
Yeah, I dare say also it attracts various agents to your club because that's a sell-on point for the agent, isn't it? Trying to get maybe a player into our club because then Richie can work with them and progress them. So it's a good selling point in that terms as well. I hate agents, but you've got to look at all the angles on it. Ed, let's move forward. Let's first competitive game of the season, Oxford Carabao Cup on Saturday. Great little game, I thought. But that's one of the talking points beforehand was on Friday on the website. You can't stand there, mate. They've got rid of the safe standing already in the East Stand. What's going on there?
That's unbelievable. I was actually looking forward to going there on Saturday just to see what it looked like because we got there reasonably early, didn't we? But yeah, that news, there's 2 ticks in the box, but there's not a third tick, so they've had to take them down just in case they all give way. A little bit embarrassing. Hopefully it's just a minor thing and they can get that resolved perhaps for within 2 or 3 home games. I suppose you don't really want to be testing it out against Sheffield Wednesday in case it does go wrong. But it's a shame, but typical Leighton Orient, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you've not... Well, luckily for the fans, you've not had to spend any more for your season ticket to use that facility. So at the moment, that's good for you. There's a few quick points. We said, even if you have the safe standing there, I wouldn't want to be sat in the couple of rows just ahead of it, just in case something did happen. I wouldn't feel comfortable. I'm presuming as well they've had to take it away from the away fans. Because if it's not working there, I presume it doesn't work in the East Stand either.
I was always a bit worried how they're going to keep up those rails in the East Stand for because it's just wood, isn't it? There's nothing to drill into.
Yeah, that is the same. That's my point as well with the South Stand where it is. Because it's quite a small area, then where are you going to tether those things if there is a push forward? It's really difficult, isn't it? When we was at Cardiff, for instance, it was a much bigger area, wasn't it? So, and it's a new stadium, so there's areas where you can secure things better. But there, and it's quite steep as well, that south stand, like quite congested, isn't it? If something, God forbid, was to happen, then you're going to be in trouble pretty quick. So I suppose it is best that they've said, no, it's not right, let's take it out.
Well, look, you don't want it collapsing, and then they're probably in their right minds to close the ground down until it's sorted.
Yeah.
So it's obviously the sensible decision to make.
Okay. Ed, with regard to the game, it was, I thought, a really good game to watch. Competitive. You could tell both teams were feeling it out a bit in terms of sort of competitive action. But I thought Oxford started well. You could tell they've got championship players throughout that team. But then we come into it and some of the new players played really well, I thought.
Yeah, I think it was very even. That's probably the best way of describing the first half. And I think obviously we've got half a new team, if not more. There may have been 5 or 6 players making their debut for Leyton Orient. The weather as well, Rob, it was very hot Saturday as well. It's probably getting used to that as well. And it's probably just people getting used to each other. I know they've had pre-season games over the last few weeks, but I think it was just both teams are sort of checking each other out the first half. And it was I would say 50-50 the first half. It could have gone either way. But you're right. I think when you look at the Oxford team, you know, that they're all championship players. So it was a good test for us, I think.
Yeah. They looked physical as well, didn't they, Oxford? What I did notice with them, especially in that first half, you could tell, I suppose they're under a new manager as well, in terms of Aaron Ramsey. But their goalkeeper, so many times, he had the ball at his feet. No real pressure on him, but he didn't know where to distribute it because players weren't moving for him, for instance. Whereas with us, we seemed a bit more fluid. I'm not saying Batsu was perfect with his feet, by the way, because his distribution could do with some work. But at least we seemed to be a bit more, the team seemed to know what was expected of them. I know it's not perfect, but sort of in that first half leading into the second half, well, we did get stronger, I thought. Sort of, yeah, it was just a good, it was pleasing on the eye in terms of, from what we was looking at the end of last season, after we come out that, was it 4 or 5 game winning run? And then it was dreadful after that, wasn't it, for about 8 games. But it was just nice to have a decent result to walk away with. Obviously 2-0, Mitchell come on as one of the substitutes late on. He's got a nice goal just from around about the penalty spot. And then late on, Charlie Wellens has done a nice crossover, and Elmis has scored as well to make it 2-0. I think we scored both our goals in the last 6 or 7 minutes. But at least it didn't go to penalties, and I thought we thoroughly deserved it in the end.
Yeah, I think the game obviously changed when we brought the subs on. Call them what you want, the bomb squad. But as Richie sort of alluded to, which we'll talk to later, he's got more confidence in his bench now. There's a lot more depth and experience now on that bench. And they all sort of gelled really well. And I think we thoroughly deserved the win against, as I said, against a championship side all but 2 or 3 months ago. So I was very happy. They competed really well and then got stuck in as well, Rob. So I think there was a lot. I think there was a lot for the crowd to sort of walk away and be happy with that performance.
What we'll do, obviously there's a lot of new starters. We had 6 new starters. So we'll quickly give our first impressions in terms of competitive game on all the players. And I'm also at the end going to add Big Phil to that. So I think this is probably the most competitive game in terms of status of game that he's played for the O's. So let's briefly go through it. Let's start with Baxter in goal. What do you think of him?
I think he just gives us a little bit more confidence at the back. It was great to see the goalkeeper come out collecting crosses from corners. You're correct, Rob. His distribution probably could do with a little bit of work, but no one's going to be perfect, are they? The first game, but when we needed him, especially that second half, I don't know if anyone's had a chance. The Oxford player had a cracking shot, and he just it hit his wrist and bounced about 30 yards away. So he stood up to it as well. I think perhaps last year there would have been a bit of flapping going about, and so it was a confident debut from him.
Yeah, that was a sharp save, wasn't it, in that second half? Because if that goes in, then all of a sudden you're chasing it. We could have been on the end of a 2-0 loss, couldn't we? Because that's the nature of football. People get their wind up if they get ahead. So that was a sharp save. We had that in the past. We're going to talk about early season form in a minute later in the podcast. But if you have a goalkeeper who maybe makes a boob, then all of a sudden all your good work can be thrown out the window. One good thing, Ed, we mentioned Posh Boy Baxter in episode 19, and that we will be distributing stars towards his nobility as we go on through the season. So first clean sheet, competitive clean sheet of the season, Ed. That's 1 star towards him becoming Baron Baxter of Leighton. So,
Yep.
I'll put that on my notes here, and we'll see how he gets on. Next one, Ed, and this guy really impressed me. Boniface at left back. Tall, speedy, powerful, didn't lose the ball that often. I thought he was excellent.
Yeah, he was. I think he was probably had the best debut of the players we're going to talk about. Very confident on the ball. Got stuck in a few times, Rob, as well, in challenges, which was good, and then was able to win the ball back and then relay the ball back into play. And his pace as well. It's like having a proper wing back, isn't it? I was really pleasantly surprised by him. I saw him briefly on that Antwerp game on the video clips, as everyone else probably saw, but to see him in flesh, so to speak, I was really impressed with him. And you can see probably why he's kept Morris at the first 11.
Yeah, I mean, obviously early doors, isn't it? And I watched him against Antwerp as well, but good first impression on the eye in terms of in the crowd and seeing him. Hopefully it goes on. He did go off early, didn't he? But that could be just, obviously we've got Morris on the bench, so at least this time we've got covered this year in terms of left back. So it could just be precautionary, isn't it? Keeping him ready. I presume he starts on Saturday?
I think he probably would do after that display on Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, they've got a week to think about it, haven't they? So, but at the moment, he'd be ahead of Morris, wouldn't he? And that's no disrespect to Morris, but it's what Richie sees, isn't it? And what they think is going to benefit us on the day. What I was just thinking, Ed, this kid's so good. How on earth did we end up with Teo from Crystal Palace last year? The difference is phenomenal between these two players.
Yeah, I presume this goes back to the scouting issues we had last year, Rob, doesn't it? I think didn't Teo come in a little bit late into the close to where the window was finishing? Could have been a panic purchase or panic loan signing. Perhaps the scouting's a little bit more with it this year. With the new sporting director. Yeah, but it is amazing. In one season, you can find a left back like Teo and a left back like this kid.
Yeah. He just seems like he's got a good footballing brain on him. Now that may change later in the season. I might be saying something else, but a good start for him. Well done. And he got player of the match, so well done to him. Next episode, Joseph Aluwu in central defence. He played on the right side, didn't he? With Big Phil. I thought it was excellent. The one thing, because we've seen the scouting report on him, it mentioned distribution, and his distribution from the back going forward in terms of the long ball was not great.
Yeah, but I don't think we've probably bought him for that. We've bought him to be that big stopper at the back, haven't we? It was originally obviously to help Forrester, but it was with Big Phil on Saturday. But again, Rob, very confident debut. He did what it says on the tin. He kept them out. Good at clearing a few corners and crosses into the box, and just looks as if he's going to do a job. You're not going to get him running up into central midfield or anything like that. He just knows what to do, what he's paid to do, and just sticks to it.
Yeah, I'm not criticising it. That was the one thing I remember from the scouting report that to the naked eye was quite evident. But yeah, he's a good player, isn't he? Like you said, if he stops him going in, that's what he's paid for. Next, new right back who we got in from Germany, Finn Stevens. We'll get to some of his characteristics in a minute, but I thought good start for him. He looked really good.
Yeah, another confident debut, I thought. Gave us a little bit more strength down that right-hand side that perhaps we've been lacking, definitely last season. He just said not afraid to get a challenge in. And I think he's going to stand up to anyone. I don't think he's going to take any rubbish. Let's put it that way. But yeah, he was good at going forward as well. So it just gives us that another extra. It just gives us a bit more options now down that right hand side.
Yeah. Before we get on to his competitive nature, shall we say, for that second goal, he was part of it that created that. So he kept on the Oxford player. Ball got out to Charlie Wellens, and obviously it's come into Elmis for the goal. But I thought he was really good at. Obviously, he got his first yellow card already for the season. I said last week, this guy's going to pick up yellow cards galore. Is it too early to call him Psycho Finn Stevens?
I don't think so, Rob. I think he looks as if he's got that temperament and that look in his eyes that he could be sort of like our Stuart Pearce type personality, Julian Dix. There's numerous fullbacks we could name. I don't think he's going to let too much go past him without a challenge. I think he's definitely going to take one for the team. Let's put it that way. If he gets beaten down the wing,
from what I can see, he left the foot in a couple of times, didn't he? But the ref let a few things go, maybe because it was the first game of the season.
But you know what? With him and Luma in the middle, that's what we've been missing for the last couple of years. A nastier edge to us. Just sometimes you have to do that to change the tempo of the game. I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah. Also, I suppose when we're on those cold away days later in the season, if he's the sort who gets under the skin of the home fans, as they would be, and riles them up and gets the attention away from the game, then sometimes you need that bit of nasty, don't you?
Yeah. It could end up, you're correct, it could end up becoming like the pantomime villain at away games.
Yeah. Okay. Ed, this might be a bad question to ask you. How many red cards this season? 1 or 2?
I'm going to go for 2.
Okay. Yeah, I might go higher on that. Yeah, let's see how it pans. But again, excellent player. A good addition. He's at the moment, competitively and skill wise, he is a step up on Tom James for my liking. So that's just my opinion.
I can easily see him becoming a fan favourite within a few games.
Yeah. Ed, let's get on to the captain, as he is, Isaac Hayden. I thought he was really good. Talks a lot, doesn't he? He was always talking to the team during that game.
Yeah, he does. There was one thing I noticed. I think it was in the first half. I think we had a free kick on the halfway line to us. And he literally grabbed hold of the ball, just put his foot on the ball, and it's telling all the other players where to be on the pitch. So I think he was telling Big Phil to go up. He may have been telling Alumu just to hold back. He was telling what players... And just waited till they were all in their positions and then did the 3 kicks. So he's obviously a manager on the pitch, which is what we've missed since we had Pratley. So in some ways you didn't really notice he was playing the game, but when you look at it he's just doing the simple things really nicely. But he's obviously, I suppose he's like the manager's eyes on the pitch.
Yeah. What you mentioned there about that free kick, last year someone would have tried to take a quick free kick, we get caught out of position, we lose a goal. That's what was happening, wasn't it?
Exactly. It was just interesting. He was actually shouting at them where to be, and I just thought we've missed that for the last year.
Yeah. There's something I noticed. So tactically, something I noticed against Antwerp and against Southend as well. I am sure when he's playing in that midfield role in front of the back four, they're just going with him there. And that's allowing Elmis and, as it was, Aberio to move more forward. So it's almost, and we've done, a couple of years ago, we tried this against Birmingham. In the first game of the season, it was Jordan Brown in front of the back four, and then they played like a diamond. And I'm sure that's what they're trying to do without telling anyone. Because obviously when the team's coming onto us, then they do go back into that 2 in front of the back four. But you watch it when we're moving forward, or the ball's more in the opposition's half. It's only him in front of the back four. So we're getting more bodies forward, maybe creating more chances. Elmis Richie's right. Elmis has probably got 10 goals in him this season if the opportunity arises, but he's getting forward more from the games I've seen recently.
Yeah, he's obviously got confidence enough in himself, and Richie has in him as well, that he's comfortable that he can hold that position just in front of the back four when we're pressing forward, because he reads the game so well. Yeah, you're right. going forward on Saturday, there were some lovely runs because it was like the Animo going forward. But he's got the confidence that Hayden and the back four can, hold out in case the ball goes down the other end.
Okay, let's move forward to Dobred. I thought he was really good. Obviously, Oxford target him. Sometimes there was 2 or 3 on him. He got put down quite often as well.
Yeah, he's very, very, looks like a really skillful brain, like just flicking the ball around players. And obviously, he's quite quick at running at players as well. I thought him and El Miz worked really well together. Just going for those quick 1-2s and laying it off down the channels. And again, he was popping himself in the box as well, but he's going to create chaos, I think, against some of these big centre-backs you're going to come across in League One, because he'd be like a whippet. They won't be able to get hold of him. So I think he's going to create lots of chances around outside the box, like getting a free kick or something like that, or just swivelling around midfield players. It's a lovely touch as well, Rob. Some of the touches he did, especially in the first half, like the back heel flicks, creating space where you didn't think there would be space. But he looks as if he's going to work with El Miz really, really nicely in that middle there. Yeah,
definitely. Once they start getting those trigger movements in terms of knowing where people are moving and just getting used to their style of play, that's going to come off nicely, isn't it? You mentioned, and when I've looked at the stat, it's true. He got drawn into, or drew players into, the most fouls in League Two last season. And you can tell that already, can't you? Because Oxford were all over him in terms of, I guess, worried about what he could create and trying to stop him straight away. As I said, there's sometimes 2 or 3 players on him. But yeah, he's going to go down. He'll create penalties we'll get penalties off of him. Because he draws players in.
You're right. And I think, which is a good point as well, because we haven't had that many penalties over the last couple of years, probably because we haven't had those types of players. But someone like him, he's going to draw a defender in. And probably get those chances, hopefully in abundance next season.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what it's going to be like if he plays in the 10 behind the striker, and then you've got Conley on the left. That's going to be outstanding, isn't it?
Yeah, we can only dream that all these players come gel together.
Only dream it happens. Yeah, but yeah, again. Great on the eye. It can only get better for him. The other one, Ed, out on the right, the Scotland loanee Youssef. It's Amarich. Sorry if I've mullered that. He was okay, wasn't he? He's so left-footed. But he showed glimpses of pace and skill. Maybe I've seen some comments, maybe he didn't use his size enough against Curry. But then Curry's experienced enough, isn't he, in terms of games to probably have seen that in the Championship and tries to nullify it, I guess. But out of all the debutants, some might say maybe the least effective, but he's had a good run out, isn't he? He can hopefully only get better for him.
Yeah, he definitely showed flashes, Rob. In the first half, I would say more. But yeah, you have to. Yeah, you're right. What you said. Hang on a minute. He's up against Curry, who's probably one of the best left backs in the league, and this is his first step up into League One. So, all in all, when you think about that, he probably didn't have a bad debut. So he may be one of the players looking over his shoulder whether he gets the starting 11. But for a home debut against a higher caliber of player, I don't think it was too bad. All in all,
yeah. Thinking about that, actually, that is a good workout for him against Curry. And that's a good test because Curry also is one of the quickest players, I think, in the EFL. When he was with us, I think they rated him as second quickest. So, he's a bit of a whippet, isn't he? So that is a good test for him. So I thought he'd done okay. If he gets better, then that's good for us. And I wanted to give Big Phil a mention. The first thing I noticed about him, remember when the players were lining up shaking hands? I said to you, he's about a foot taller than everyone. He's massive, Ed, isn't he?
Yeah. I think that was the first time I've seen him play professionally, Robert, in the flesh, or definitely at Orient. Look, okay, the kid's is he 17, 18?
18.
It was his first competitive game or starting game for the O's. Against a good opposition as well. He slipped up a couple of times, but the other players helped him out. And I think as the game went on, he's a little bit dominant. I'll tell you what, when he gets the ball, though, and he's running at you, which he did a couple of times, there ain't no one going to be able to stop him when he's at full pelt because he is a man mountain. So I think sometimes these centre backs sort of run forward and are looking to open play up. There's no one. I think if you put a challenge on him, you just bounce off.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You know, it reminded me of. Remember Joe Malunu, the rugby player, when he came up against running down the wing? I think he steamrolled it through one of the Underwood brothers. He basically he's got to try. The Underwood brother was still on his legs. He's like that, isn't he? He's like, you're right. His power moving forward. It's going to take two or three of you if you're lucky to be able to stop him.
Yeah, no, as I said, he just gives you that. Once he gets the confidence and he's playing with more experienced players at the back. Just having him in, if we're attacking and we've got a corner or a free kick, just being that extra, if he's running full pelt, he may end up scoring a few goals this season.
Yeah, it's every minute he plays for us, he's going to get better, isn't he? So on that point, whether it be Carabao Cup, whether you never know, depending on who they get in this week, he might even have to start, mightn't he, against Sheffield Wednesday again. Good experience for him, good test. The reports I saw, the rumours saying that there's a League Two team after him for 100 grand, 120 grand, maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, but no way they're going to sell him for that sort of money. If we do, we're so stupid.
No, I don't think we need to, Rob. I think if we give this guy a few games, run outs this season, and just give him a little bit more confidence. Look, he could be one of the players in a couple of years that his transfer value goes through the roof because he's such an anomaly, isn't he? And left-footed as well. So there's not many of those around. So I think we just need to look after him. This may be his season to break out, but in sort of like 2 or 3 years' time, he could be a good acquisition for the team.
All in all, Ed, I think 2-0, good result, wasn't it? Something you kept telling me before the game, and we've mentioned it before. This team that started is at least it's better, isn't it, than the team that ended the season with us against Burton?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Here's a question for you: how many players on the pitch, starting 11 on Saturday, started against Burton last game of the season?
Oh, now you got my dart. The goalkeeper now done the defence. 1.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
None of the players who started against Burton was in that starting 11. It just shows you, doesn't it, how much work they've done over the summer.
Yeah, that is amazing when you think about it. And how my French, how piss poor we were at the end of the season compared to what we saw on Saturday.
It's a couple of little things. Players are training, this, that and the other. Look at those flash training tops we've got. There's that nice sort of blood red with Orient gold across their shoulders. They look nice, didn't they?
Oh, they were lovely, Rob, weren't they? That's the first thing that sort of caught our eye. I think there was a training gear as well. I think they were wearing that similar sort of like that red, sort of a deeper red. And I think it may have sort of like the Orient badge ingrained into the red. And but the training kits they came out with before the game kicked off, just nice to see Orient, not Leighton Orient, just Orient in gold lettering.
Old school, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, but it's a selling point, isn't it? It reminded you of like the Leeds 1970s where they used to come out in their tracksuits before the kickoff. They look smart, they look different, and perhaps this is something that maybe is going to be like one of their good points, that the training gear and accessories are going to be a lot better than what we've seen over the previous years. Yeah,
with those tracksuits, straight away on X or wherever you want to look for stuff on the forums, straight up, when can I get one? If they put them in the club shop on Saturday, they'd have sold loads.
Yeah, I was surprised. We went into the shop on Saturday just to have a look around. But yeah, they wasn't anywhere to be seen. We only saw them once the players came out onto the pitch before the kickoff. So a bit surprised, but perhaps that's to whet your appetite so they know the next home game. Perhaps they'll be plastered in the shop ready for you to buy.
Yeah, you know what everyone's getting for their birthday and Christmas, don't you? So it'd be interesting, but yeah, really good. So that was a bit of flash. When I saw that, I thought you flash gits, but in a nice way. I thought those were really nice, those tracksuits.
Well, that's the sort of thing you'd wear, and other people would say, has he done that? Has he done that professionally? And like you say, no, it's just the training top. It just looked different to anything else that's out there at the moment.
Yeah. Ed, another thing to mention, Richard Wellens on his interview afterwards. So with Dave Victor, which is like a 7-minute interview, he mentioned obviously they'd looked to have already bought a second striker on the day of the Oxford game. So I think we're just waiting for that to come out. Over the next couple of days, there's rumours that it's the guy from Luton, is it Yates, who he's worked with before?
Yeah, that's the one he's mentioned a couple of times, hasn't he, on previous interviews this season. So, I mean, look, if it is him, his track record, he's scored goals in the Championship. He's still only 29 years old. I think he has a bit of a reputation when he goes different clubs because it may be he's quite Connolly-esque with his attitude.
But you need a bit of that edge, don't you?
You need a bit of edge, yeah.
Yeah. The other thing you mentioned, I think there's a centre-back stroke right-back. Is it Gilchrist from West Brom? Used to be a Chelsea player. Went to West Brom for about $2 million. I think we're looking to get him in on loan.
Yeah, well, I think these are the types of players, sort of like we're looking a little bit higher up there. It may be big signings that haven't quite worked out in the Championship the previous season. And the club that they're currently playing at are probably just looking to give them some game time to sell them on. Yeah. Because I think that's the way. I mean, look, if it doesn't go right for Ballard this season, they're not going to just be sticking him in the reserves. They'll probably be looking him to put him out on loan next year. I think that's a similar sort of position, sort of like with Gilchrist at West Brom, which obviously hasn't worked out. He wants to play games, and West Brom probably want him to be playing games as well. So, again, he's come through the Chelsea Academy again, hasn't he? You're going to get a reasonably, what you're sort of going to get. So looks like another positive signing. And obviously, with Forrester being out for a couple of weeks, we need cover in that position.
Yeah, definitely. Another quick thing that did make me laugh on the club interview, which is like a 5-minute interview, near the end, about 30 seconds from the end, Richie mentioned Isaac Hayden, but he didn't call him Isaac Hayden then. And I think this is proof that maybe Richie listens to our podcast, because we mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. He called him Isaac Hayes.
Easy mistake to make, Rob. I did that, didn't I? When I obviously wrongly typed in his name, and that predictive text did come up with Isaac Hayes. So, there's no embarrassment in that. He's a great songwriter and a singer as well.
Yeah. I'm sure it's an easy nickname to have, isn't it? Or Richie's just driving along to the theme from Shaft all day, sort of as he's going into training. It's just on his mind. But I love slips like that. And Richie, if you are listening, I'm the one who gave you Willy Nilly that you used for a couple of interviews after the Plymouth game, I think. So when we lost to them. So, I'm here for any sort of scripts you might need for future games. Ed, wrap that up. Good win. Let's hope we get someone nice in the second round.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, everyone wants West Ham, Spurs, don't they? Or I think we could even possibly get Chelsea. It'd be lovely to bring them to our place, but on the flip side, it'd be a lovely night out if we went to their shop. The other thing you got to remember when you're playing these teams in round two, it's going to predominantly be their under 21s with a few first team players on the bench if things are going wrong. So there is an opportunity of an upset there if you get one of the bigger teams. But, I suppose we have to be realistic. It probably will be a smaller team than those on a Tuesday night away.
Yeah, definitely. Let's move on. I suppose what people would class is the real opener for the season. We're at home for the first league game of the season against Sheffield Wednesday. I think people have been saying it's sold out, isn't it, already? Although I can already see there's tickets near us still available in the East Stand. Cracker of a game, isn't it? And we tend to have a big home game, first game of the season for the last 3 years.
Yeah, I don't think we could have asked for anything better, possibly Leicester. I would prefer to be playing Sheffield Wednesday, I think, because I think they're in such turmoil last year. They've probably got a completely different new team, a new manager, and we all know what it's like when you get relegated, and that first couple of games back in, playing a league below, they're tough, because I think sometimes you walk into the games think you're going to win 2 or 3-0 easy. Every game's going to be easy. I think it takes about half a dozen games just to get your mindset right for playing in a different league. So, they're going to bring down 1,500 fans, aren't they? if not more, if they're picked up any of the spare tickets. But for us, nice that it's a 3:00, Rob, and the game hasn't been moved. But it'd been, again, as a big crowd, big game, 3:00 on a Saturday. What more could you ask for?
Richie said something interesting before the Oxford game in terms of Oxford obviously finished near the bottom, and there's that culture where you've not won a lot of games. So, you can't just switch that on straight away in terms of winning. And the same with Sheffield Wednesday. They won, I think, only 2 league games last season and created a record of the worst championship season ever for a club. Which is interesting in itself. But then I thought, I flipped that and I thought, hang about, Richie, we didn't win a lot of games ourselves last season, really, did we? So we've got to change our mindset also in terms of winning games, getting a good start to the league campaign, because we've not really done that over the last few years. I'm looking forward to seeing it because they've still got good players, haven't they? But they've not got a manager who's used to this league, whereas Richie's got more experience. So it sort of evens itself out a bit.
Yeah, I think it'd be a bit of a culture shock when the players turn up at our ground. Oh, we've been in those dressing rooms, Rob, haven't we? That away one's tiny. So you get those Sheffield Wednesday players who probably some of them have played in the Premiership and obviously all played in the Championship, coming to that little away section for them to get changed in. Might be a bit of an eye, and obviously the crowd are on top. I know Hillsborough on top of you as well, and there's loads more, but the way the Orient ground is, they are more on top of you, the fans, and you can hear people shouting at you, etc., etc. So I think it's probably a game they probably didn't want first game to play us. So I'm more confident now, Rob, I think, after watching them Saturday. And hopefully, we can start off well.
I'll get your points prediction in a minute. First two seasons were up, no points whatsoever in the league in August. Last season, which was a terrible season all round, we ended up with 4 points during the first month of the season, which you think, that's a great start, but we ended up being shit. So sorry to swear, but it was a rubbish season, wasn't it? So what do we need? What would you... We've got 3 league games in August. What sort of points haul are you looking at?
I think we've got to be looking to have at least, I'm going to go 3. I think we've got to at least have 4 points. I think I can see us beating Sheffield Wednesday, Rob, on Saturday, just because I think it's the right time to play them. Wigan away. Mind you, they've got Sonny Perkins up front, haven't they?
Yeah, the banana skin that's Perkins.
Yeah, I'm going to go for 4 points, Rob. And that it's hard to tell, isn't it? Until ideally you want 6, don't you? But I'm going to go for a mid-table 4. And you?
I am going high-end 6. I'm almost tempted by 7. I think I'm going to have to go 7. I think we'll draw against Sheffield Wednesday. I think we'll beat Wigan away. And from what my understanding is, Barnsley in all sorts of trouble in terms of the club's not in a good place financially. I think we get 3 points there. That's 7 points in the month. I'll be getting sort of my tickets ready for playoffs come May.
Or booking your holiday. Booking your holiday around the playoffs.
Yeah, make sure I'm not at work that day. I'll step back. So let's step back. Score prediction for Sheffield Wednesday.
2-0 to us.
2-0. Right, I'll go 1-1. I reckon Barry Bannum's going to score, isn't he? Yeah, 1-1 for that. So points prediction, I'm saying 7, you're saying 4. Let's go season prediction, because we're going into the first game of the season. I said the other day, or the other week on the podcast, I reckon they're pushing for top 8. Which at the moment seems maybe far-fetched for some. I think it's quite realistic. At the very least, they'll want top 12. If at any stage near Christmas we are near the bottom, then they'll be having serious conversations about what's going on.
Yeah, I think they want a serious push this year, Rob. They've spent serious money for Leyton Orient, haven't they, this year? So if you're the money man at that team, the last thing you want is another season, anything like we had last season. So I think bare minimal, and I reckon he's probably been set targets as well. I want you to be around 8th, pushing for that playoff position at least till the last game of the season.
Right. Yeah. Well, we can only hope, can't we? The good thing is, like you said, big game. Just imagine if we started against Stevenage. How boring would that be? At least we've got a huge team coming down, big fan support, probably big London support, like you always mention with these northern teams. So it should be a good day out. Let's burst their positivity quite early in the season. Get up that league. I don't want to be floundering near the bottom like we have for the last few seasons. And then at the early start of the season, part of the season, I mean. But let's just hope we can get off to a positive start. Before we leave, where are we going for a drink on Saturday?
Where are we going to go for a drink on Saturday? I think we're going to go, Rob, to I think it's called Hackney East, just behind the Copper Box. We went there last season, Rob, didn't we, when the weather was nice. Big TV screens. If there's an early kickoff, they'll be showing that as well. Quite a few places to grab some food and to have a drink. So we are going to aim to be there around sort of 12 o'clock-ish on Saturday, and then we can head back to Stratford and on to the Mighty O's sort of around 2 o'clock-ish, I imagine.
Yeah, and they've not said it yet. I presume there's a fan zone. So if there's a fan zone, we'll head to there as well, won't we, before we get into it?
Yeah, I presume while the weather's like this, why wouldn't you do it? And I think it was a success last year. I imagine they'll probably come out with something this week. I imagine it's a full house, so it's going to be packed everywhere, isn't it? So let's hope they've got those training tops ready, Rob, so we can purchase one of those.
Oh, yeah, smash out the credit card on those tracksuits. Right, that's it for this week. All being well, a couple of new signings possibly coming in. You never know, they might get rid of Backinson and Craig as well. But yeah, safe journey to the game on Saturday, and up the goes.
Come on, you O's.